change social perception to encourage more women to enter the STEM tech industry? Who person?
Okay, so I think it's all about representation. Like, just to give you a story, I was invited by the Department of Science and Technology back in my country to do a talk in a remote area in an island in Philippines. And the reason why is because the only career option for every middle school or high school student there is to be a teacher. And that's very sad because, you know, like if these girls or these women can only see that women have a place in the tech industry, if they have more role models, then that means they will also be encouraged to take that career path. And we definitely need more women in the tech industry because the more diverse the tech industry is, the more amazing products that we're about to build, because women also have great ideas that we can bring to the table, right? So yeah, it's all about representation and having that role model that you can look up to, mentors that you can reach out and collaborate with. And I think that's what it is.
Okay, itu kenapa? That's why teman-teman hadir hari ini ya, itu karena seperti yang udah Kak bilang tadi, pentingnya untuk berjejaring. Karena jujur aku juga dapat kerjaan aku yang sekarang sebagai software engineer di PLN juga karena aku dulu aku bahkan duduk di sini, WTM aku ikut, terus Google I.O aku juga pernah ikut 2018 waktu itu duduk di, kayak teman-teman persis, siapa tahu nanti next teman-teman yang jadi speaker di sini ya. Oke, mungkin boleh dari Kak Sakina.
Right. So I 100% agree with her. Female representation is very important. Which is why events like these, panel discussions like these, more female speakers like us, it's very important, right? Because women, they tend to resonate more with other women, so they would more likely, you know, go up to a female speaker and ask her their questions rather than go up to a man, right? So aside from that, now what if you're someone who's not in a position to be a speaker or a mentor or a panelist, right? What about you guys, right? The best thing is make the best use of social media, especially LinkedIn, Twitter, and even TikTok. So let's say that you were working on a project and it was great, it turned out to be great. How about you post that on LinkedIn? Maybe highlight the specific challenges or the requirements that project asked of you and how you worked around them and how you delivered that project. Let's say there's a new update in Flutter that people don't yet know about. Why don't you create a small TikTok reel on it and just, you know, post it on TikTok for people to see? Why not, when you're using Twitter, let's say you create, you know, a very nice user experience mobile application, just go ahead, post a video or a GIF of it on Twitter. And that's how you will get people to look at you. That's how you will be able to challenge others' perception of you that you too can do it.
Oke, luar biasa sekali. Thank you Kak Sakina. Beri tepuk tangan untuk teman speaker kita hari ini. Oke, dua lagi. Masih ada Kak Eka dan Kak Sehan. I wanna ask you about, can you share like a significant project or like the best project that you ever made? For inspire us, like women can do that also, like the other, like, or if not the best project, you can tell us about like inspiration or something like that about your project.
Sebetulnya jujur kalau coding project yang wow, inspiring banget, aku belum ada. Jadi tapi aku punya jawaban yang agak kurang sesuai brief mungkin ya. Cuma menurutku ini valuable banget sih. Waktu kita menguasai teknologi, entah itu web atau apapun, kita bisa kita ngerti programming nih, kita bisa take more control, lebih kita bisa menciptakan solusi yang membantu kita sendiri. Misalnya contoh dalam hal budgeting ya, jadi intinya sih dengan menguasai teknologi kita bisa ya life hack lah, kita punya akses ke banyak life hack yang membuat kualitas hidup kita lebih baik. Nah, contohnya gini, aku sosok mau ngatur keuangan dengan bijak, biar bisa biar bisa pensiun dini atau apa semacamnya. Nah, ini dimulai dengan budgeting dan mencatat pengeluaran. Nah, cuma kan prakteknya mungkin aku pakai suatu aplikasi untuk ya mencatat pengeluaran. Aplikasi itu di-develop di luar negeri di mana ada integrasi bank secara otomatis. Tapi kalau untuk institusi keuangan di Indonesia belum semua support, apalagi kalau pakai misalnya ini contoh aja e-wallet yang tidak ada integrasinya sama sekali. Tapi aplikasi itu mengekspos developer API. Dan dengan kita sebagai programmer, kita bisa ngakalin nih, kita mikir, oh iya, kalau kita pakai e-wallet, transaksi kan dikirim ke email ya, ada itunya, ada emailnya. Terus kita bisa pakai cloud function atau lambda function atau apalah serverless function yang pertama emailnya kita forward ke service tertentu, misalnya isi emailnya. Nah, terus kita jalanin cloud function yang memparse body si email itu. Ya udah tinggal cari-cari selektor, itu kan HTML doang ya email isinya. Jadi kita bisa mendapatkan pengeluaran kita itu jumlahnya berapa, dihabiskan di mana, lalu kita otomatis bisa post ke aplikasi kita. Ya, itu kan nggak bisa dipublish karena aksesnya pakai token ya, cuma untuk akun kita sendiri. Tapi itu kan sangat memudahkan kita dalam men-track pengeluaran dan ya semoga jadi lebih nggak boros. Cuma walaupun prakteknya ya aku kadang tetap boros juga, tapi minimal tercatat. Jadi tiap bulan berkat aplikasi yang sudah ada itu juga aku bisa melihat, oh ya ampun aku 75% over budget cuma buat jajan gorengan dan kopi misalnya. Terus contoh lain misalnya sekarang semua kalender, to-do task rata-rata sudah ada integrasi API-nya. Jadi kita bisa lebih disiplin, misalnya kita menjadwalkan sesuatu, kita bisa mengcustom pengaturan schedule kita dan lain-lain.
Okay.
Terus misalnya, jadi malah contoh terus, misalnya aku pakai Spotify ya, nyebut merek deh. Terus ada daily playlistnya, nah kadang belum sempat didengerin, udah keburu berubah, ya kan? Padahal wah kayaknya lagunya enak. Nah, terus itu kan ada API-nya juga, jadi kita bisa jalanin cron untuk setiap hari mencatat playlist itu isinya apa, di post ke database, ya walaupun untuk dipakai pribadi ya, kita bisa mengakses data itu, dan siapa tahu ke depannya kan itu bisa dikembangin jadi produk juga.
Oke, keren banget. Berarti nggak harus berdampak orang lain, tapi ke diri kita sendiri pun udah merasa terbantu banget ya Kak dengan bisa teknologi. Terima kasih Kak Eka. Oke, boleh next Kak.
So for me, I think the most interesting project that I've done so far was not done by myself, but I did together with a group of people. So during COVID, when we cannot go out, and there were almost zero event in person, right? And I felt that I can do something, so I did a book club. So I have a Flutter book club. And during that time, I still don't know much about Flutter, but I organized a book club session every weekend. And during each session, then each of us will go through maybe one chapter of the book. And so people can join, they can follow they can follow us, or they can also try their own. And what we do is we just show how we learn those things, the new concepts in the book. And sometimes we will also start like, okay, this we need to search in Stack Overflow. We have some technical issues, we are not sure about this. So when people can join us, they can learn together, they can see the process of how we learn new things. I think that's also very valuable, and it's a very good place to start for anyone.
Oh, that is a cool project. Give applause teman-teman buat panelis kita hari ini. Oke, sekarang kita bahas lebih spesifik ke masing-masing bidang dari panelis kita. Mungkin kita start from Kak Sakina. Oke, Kak Sakina, leading in both DevOps and Flutter development, right? And then how do you leverage your position to encourage and empower women in your team or your community to actively participate in cutting-edge technologies like Flutter?
So I mentor my team members, right? Previously, I used to do development by myself, but now I don't. Otherwise, I wouldn't have time to do the other important stuff, right? So in my team, I don't just mentor men; I also mentor women as well. I personally go through their, code. I review their code. I let them know, hey, you know what, you could have done this thing better, and that's one part of it. The other is we sometimes offer internships as well, and if they're Flutter interns, then I basically train people under me, and then they train the people under them. So that's kind of how it works. And beside that, so in Pakistan, there's this program called Code Girls, which is a development bootcamp specifically for women. No age barrier whatsoever. You can be a school student, you can be a mother of 5 for all they care. So I was leading the Flutter bootcamp over there as well, and it was really great to see the impact it was making, and I still have those women reach out to me that, hey, you know what, we were stay-at-home moms, and then after attending your boot camp, we're doing this freelance gig by ourselves on our home. So it's really good to see the impact that you make. And then initially, there was very little Flutter community back in Pakistan. And right now, after I became a Google Developer Expert, I started doing sessions. People are still reaching out, and they still tell me that, hey, you know what, way back then I didn't understand this concept, and now I know this concept, and it's just stuck in my head because of the way that you explained. So yeah, these are the different things that I do, and I just try to keep up at it, and yeah, keep impacting.
Oh, that's cool. In Indonesia, we also have like that. It's called some like girls' generation, and some of like that you do that by your own self. It's so cool. Really. Give applause to Kak Sakina, teman-teman. Okay, next one, jump to Kak Eka. Okay, being a Google Developer Expert Kak Eka, gimana Kak Eka bisa how you can play a crucial role in shaping future of web development, and apa aja sih step yang Kakak ambil untuk encourage more women nih teman-teman buat join khususnya web gitu. Gimana Kakak memeran playing a crucial role, maksudnya gimana cara Kakak untuk memegang peran penting Kakak di perusahaan Kakak sekarang? Gimana cara Kakak sehari-hari handle-nya gitu, mungkin boleh sharing ke teman-teman gitu.
Cara sehari-hari ya jadi aku kerja di tim yang sangat kecil, developernya literally cuma 3 orang across the stack, itu udah include backend, API, infra, dan yang pure di web, dan lebih banyak fokus ke front end cuma aku. Jadi mungkin kalau mentoring atau semacamnya belum ada karena memang timnya sangat kecil dan harus gerak cepat. Tapi aku lebih ke make sure aku provide, nyediain pengetahuanku tentang web, nggak cuma untuk timku sendiri atau cuma untuk developer, tapi menjelaskan dengan mendetail untuk anggota tim lain, misalnya produk, misalnya growth. Jadi misalnya contoh simpelnya, kalau di luar lingkaran web mungkin belum banyak yang tahu tentang aksesibilitas, dan itu kan hal yang nggak kasar mata ya, nggak langsung kelihatan, jadi nggak disadari, tapi mungkin aku bisa mengedukasi ini loh manfaatnya, pentingnya. Dan kebetulan juga itu kan didukung dengan growth-nya Google ya. Misalnya Google sebagai search engine misalnya, kedepannya ada kemungkinan memberi poin yang lebih baik, menganggap situs yang aksesibilitasnya bagus mungkin hasil search-nya lebih tinggi. Nah itu aku memanfaatkan pengetahuan itu untuk menyampaikan ke orang produk atau marketing atau growth dengan matriks yang mereka anggap penting. Kalau kita cuma ngomong pure coding doang kan ya nggak nyambung ya. Jadi kita menerjemahkan pengetahuan yang kita punya dengan tujuan organisasi atau tujuan matriks masing-masing kolega.
Oke, apakah tadi Kak namanya Kak? Nama yang Kakak gunain teknologinya buat ngebantu Kakak tadi?
Enggak, itu prinsip aksesibilitas.
Oh,
Jadi
oke,
misalnya
oke.
kalau website nih atau teknologi digital apapun kan kontrasnya harus baik.
Yes,
Terus
betul.
yang mengakses situs kita bukan cuma orang yang penglihatannya sempurna, tapi mungkin misalnya ada yang pakai screen reader. Nah itu kalau misalnya codingannya secara semantik berantakan, itu akan sangat sulit dipakai oleh teman-teman tunanetra yang mengakses situs kita.
Oke. Penting banget ya Kak, jadi user experience dari teman-teman juga sangat menentukan gitu kinerja Kakak. Oke, terima kasih Kak Eka. Oke, we next to the Cleo. We move to the last one to from the start, and then for the Cleo, as an engineer lead with expertise in Firebase, how can women contribute to and lead in the development of robust and secure system, and particularly in industry like ride hailing and delivery, and what challenge have you overcome in your leadership role?
Yeah, so before I became, like in the leadership role, I was really an engineer myself. I love building things, and the challenges that I experience is that, when I'm facing stakeholders who are really old, sometimes I don't get that respect. Whenever I try to speak out, I'm not being listened to. But as long as you prove yourself with your achievements and you really continue to deliver the work, at some point they will really raise their hands to you. And it's about proving yourself over and over again to people that you can deliver and you can do it. So the question was also about Firebase, right? So it may sound like I'm selling Firebase to you guys, but yeah, like Firebase was created so that front-end engineers and people who wanted to build apps will have that level of abstraction, because backend itself is a very complicated work. Like you have to manage servers, you have to manage a database, you have to host it somewhere else. And that's why everything is already there. It's packaged in Firebase ecosystem, and then you can just pick whatever you want that can be integrated with your app. And so it's just about the tool, right? Like it always depends on the project that you're working on. Maybe Firebase is not for your project. Maybe something else would be good. It's about knowing what your use cases are and figuring out what tool actually works best for that. Because at the end of these things, these are just tools that you can just choose and pick out. And you have to benchmark, you have to compare like what really is best for you.
That's why it's really important to always update it about the technologies.
Yes.
Alright, thank you Kak. Okay, we next to Kak Shean. Okay, Kak Shean, as passionate advocate for Flutter and Dart, especially in building diverse application, how do you think encourage diversity in tech teams and contribute to more innovative and inclusive app development? It's too fast, sorry. Okay. As a passionate advocate for Flutter and Dart, especially in building diverse application, how do you think encourage diversity in tech teams and contribute to more innovative and inclusive app development?
So how to encourage more diversity? Okay, I think maybe my answer will be a bit out of the scope of the question, but one thing I have observed many times when women they go through a new life phase, like maybe they get married, they want to have children, and then they need to spend time to take care of their kids and family. And I feel that it's very difficult for women to really balance between work and family, but it's not impossible. So I thought that there needs to be an effort from both women and also the company, because as women we need to feel that it is possible to balance between between the two. And for the company, the workplace also need to provide enough support so they can allow more flexibility. So if let's say you need to be off for a few hours, 1 or 2 hours to pick up your kids, or you need to take your kids to the doctor, then you can do that. So, and then for women themselves, they also need to feel that, okay, I can do something as a woman, especially to provide new perspective to your team. And also because women are usually more empathetic, and they would provide a more an opinion that would take care of the other aspects that maybe the other men have not thought of it. So I think in the team too, we can have a balance between men and women in the team. And so far in my company, is quite, we can say that even we still have less women than men, but we have about 30% of women in the technical role in the company. So yeah, I feel that it's an effort from all different parties, and at last, us as an individual, when we do our work, let's not put ourselves down. Let's believe that we can excel at this kind of role, and they are definitely not just for the men.
Yeah, nothing is impossible as long as you can manage your time and set your priority, right? Okay, thank you. Okay, the last one but not least, Kak Esther nih. Kak Esther sebagai pengajar juga ya Kak, pendidik juga nih Kak. Gimana advice terbaik Kakak untuk teman-teman perempuan yang mungkin sekarang lagi mengenyam pendidikan kuliah dan sedang memfokuskan diri buat di teknologi AI sendiri? Gimana saran Kakak nih Kak? Mungkin boleh sharing pengalaman-pengalaman waktu kuliahnya juga Kak. Gimana mereka bisa step by step buat achieve sampai ke bisa terjun ke tech industry?
Oke ya, jadi memang kita harus bisa terus semangat belajar karena dunia teknologi ini terus update. Jadi besok bisa keluar tuh generative AI baru yang kita harus belajar. Nah itu emang kita harus terus up to date. Tapi kadang cewek kan nggak mungkin juga belajar terus ya. Kadang kita pengen hangout, chat sama temen, kadang kita harus ke salon gitu ya. Jadi bagi waktu dengan baik juga penting, sama ya terus sempatkan belajar teknologi terbaru dan ya bisa juga belajar dari influencer cewek. Banyak juga saya Kak ini ya. Ini belum sharing ini. Padahal Kak ini juga contoh influencer cewek teknologi yang sukses gitu ya. Jadi kita bisa terus belajar teknologi terbaru dan ya terus jangan mau kalah gitu ya sama para cowok, karena kita juga punya potensi yang sama dan terus semangat gitu aja.
Oke, boleh dicatat tuh buat teman-teman yang sekarang cewek-cewek yang lagi berjuang, kita udah ada role modelnya, jadi jangan patah semangat gitu ya buat belajarnya. Oke, terakhir nih Kak, buat semua panelis, boleh dikasih kesan-pesannya or like a closing statement for all of the participants. You can like give an advice or something that quotes that you use every day or every time you work in your industry. Oh, okay, back to Kak Esther first.
Ya, oke. Dari saya ya embrace AI gitu ya. Jadi sekarang semua ada ketakutan programmer bakal diganti AI gitu ya. Padahal sebenarnya enggak gitu ya. Tapi kita harus bestian sama AI. Jadi terus pakai AI. Jangan sampai kayak ada mahasiswa saya kayak gengsi gitu loh. Dia kalau pakai chatbot kayak ini bukan kerjaanku sendiri ya. Aku bisa sendiri, aku nggak butuh chatbot. Nah, udah bukan zamannya ya. Jadi pakailah AI untuk mensupport semua task kalian dan jadilah bestie dengan AI.
Oke, keren banget. Beri tepuk tangan teman-teman untuk Kak Esther. Oke, next.
Yeah, so there is something like a mission statement that I always bring with me whenever in everyday life. It's to make the world a better place one source code at a time. That's really like something like my life mission, and I think I can share that to all of you. Like, you may be students right now, or professionals, or wherever you are in your career as a tech professional. But at the end of the day, the products and services that we are building, somehow it's creating an impact to the lives of the users. And at the end of the day, we can build amazing products with the ideas that we have. So just keep on pushing to be better developers and engineers. And yeah, just do it.
Okay, give applause to Cleo, teman-teman. Oke, next dari Kak Eka.
Mirip sebetulnya sama itunya Cleo. Jadi kalau kita pengen sesuatu, ya kita harus kejar lah. Maksudnya jangan kebanyakan mikir bisa nggak ya, wah tapi ini tapi itu, nggak usah kebanyakan tapi, ya hajar aja udah.
Oke, jangan kebanyakan tapi hajar aja teman-teman. Beri tepuk tangan untuk Kak Eka. Oke, next. Roshan.
So for me, what I just want to tell everyone is we can all make a small step in our own way. We don't have to copy anyone. We do something that we are comfortable with, and then don't underestimate the impact that you make to people around you. So.
Yeah, right. Small step is important things to bring us today, right? Oke, beri tepuk tangan untuk Shayan, teman-teman. Oke, the last one, Sakina, boleh disampaikan closing statement-nya?
Okay, two things. Number one, ask questions. Ask lots of questions, because if you don't, then you will never be answered, right? And the way to move forward is to ask questions from the relevant people, because that's what they're here for. Like, we speakers, we're here right now because we want to share our knowledge with you. And if you don't want to receive it, then it's your loss, right? So one thing, as you exit for lunch, or if you're, moving between rooms, maybe switching sessions, right? I encourage you to ask at least one question from any one speaker, right? It could be any question. But just don't overwhelm them with questions, because then they won't be able to help everyone, right? So that's number one. Number two, the difference between you and any other engineer or any other developer. What would that be? Whatever technology you're pursuing, whether it's Flutter, whether it's Angular, it's Golang, Firebase, whatever, right? AIML. If you're doing something, you need to understand why you're doing this, why it couldn't have been done in a different way. You need to know the insights, right? Like, if this is a strategy that I'm using, is there a better way to do it? And if I'm doing it, why exactly am I doing it? Because if you don't understand your own use cases, then you might never actually make it to the top, because you're just doing what everyone else is doing, right? So be open, be curious, ask questions, and always look for questions and answers within your code. Thank you.
Thank you, Kak Sakina. Stay curious, teman-teman. Oke, I think we only can open one session questions. Is there anyone to ask? Is there anyone to ask to our panelists? Ada yang mau nanya? Oke, ada ya. Boleh maju nggak, Mas? Nggak apa-apa. Nggak mau? Ya udah, aku yang turun deh. He's shy, I think.
Hello everyone, my name is Dafar Alfa Mumtaz Haryadi, and I want to appreciate those women who proudly sit at the front of our stages.
Wow, thank you. That means a lot.
My question being, how many years do you think in the future to perfect your prowess at technology, and development, and how many years do you think AI will develop to its fullest before it decreases its growth. Berapa tahun waktu yang akan kalian butuhkan di masa depan agar kalian merasa puas dengan hasil dan bangga dengan pencapaian kalian sebagai development. Dan berapa tahun akan AI terus berkembang hingga menjadi potensi yang sepenuhnya gitu. Terima kasih. Dava Nova.
Okay, thank you, Dava. Maybe the first question asking for the all panelists is that how many years until you satisfied with your achievement in tech industry? And then maybe the second one is especially for Kak Esther. Yeah, maybe Kak Esther first jawab.
Oke, ya sebenarnya ada satu hal yang saya sedikit kayak ngerasa kok nggak dari dulu ya gitu. Jadi sebenarnya zaman dulu saya jadi mahasiswa belum ada GDSC. Jadi kalau saya bisa pengen sesuatu yang berubah di masa lalu, pengennya waktu itu udah ada GDSC gitu. Jadi kayak Kak Vero dari GDSC langsung jadi GDG organizer, terus lalu jadi GDI dalam waktu singkat. Nah itu teladan banget. Jadi kalau saya ngerasa sih sebenarnya kalau sekarang ya mungkin nggak tahu berapa tahun lagi ya, mungkin 5 tahun ke depan sih paling nggak cita-citanya pengen bikin sebuah project yang bisa bermanfaat untuk masyarakat benar-benar. Dan kalau GDI ya pengennya sampai secapeknya gitu ya, 5 tahun 10 tahun lagi. Soalnya ternyata seneng banget bisa share teknologi. Terus kalau AI, nah ini kita nggak nyangka loh kalau AI itu tiba-tiba tahun ini tuh bener-bener ada leap ya, jadi ada perkembangannya luar biasa. Nah dulu prediksinya paling AI itu bisa seperti manusia yang disebut AGI itu dipikirnya masih kayak 10 tahun lagi. Ternyata tahun ini udah mulai mendekati. Jadi mungkin 5 tahun lagi ya menurutku sudah benar-benar AI ini udah bisa nggantiin banyak pekerjaan kita. Jadi pesannya jangan lupa kalian cari kerja yang nggak berulang, yang cari kerja yang butuh kreativitas, butuh ide, butuh analisis. Nah itu fokus di sana. Karena kalau kalian cuma bikin sesuatu yang berulang pasti bisa diganti AI gitu aja.
Thank you Kak Esther. Gimana Aman Mas? Thank you for the answer. Okay.
So the question was, how many years will we be satisfied with the achievement? The answer is undefined. We will never be satisfied because the truth is you set goals for yourself. Once you achieve that, you have another set of goals. That seems tiring, right? Like sometimes you feel like I'm tired of chasing after my dreams. But let's keep it real. If you feel tired, you take a rest. And then you go back to fight again for your dreams. So that is the answer to that. And the next question was about AI, right?
Yeah.
So when will AI reach its potential? To be honest, I don't know the answer to that because every day we're generating new types of data. For example, before we don't have that 360 file, right, where we can like go around and have that 360 view of the place. We don't have that years ago. And so that is also undefined in a sense that we can't really predict the future and AI is based on the data that we're fueling in to the models that actually we're utilizing right now. So data is the blood and soul of every model out there, or basically AI. So yeah, I don't know to answer that to the question.
Okay, thank you. Maybe the other one just answer the first question, okay? Okay, yeah, only about the first question, not for the second question.
Ya, berapa tahun sih kayaknya nggak akan ya. Cuma berusaha justru 0 tahun kalau puas apa ya? Ya mungkin sekarang pun harus apa ya? Aku berusaha buat seneng bersyukur biar nggak FOMO kan, fear of missing out. Kenapa? Karena teknologi itu kan jalannya cepet banget. Setiap ya mungkin setiap hari ada library baru, akan ada framework baru. Kalau misalnya kita mengukur kepuasan kita berdasarkan harus menguasai semuanya sekaligus, ya emang gak bakal ada habisnya. Tapi yang penting pertama kalau dari aku sih selalu berusaha mempelajari yang bisa bermanfaat dan bisa diterapkan. Dan ya semoga misalnya suatu hari kayak aku udah jago banget, sukses banget, terus punya segalanya, itu pun tetap bakal ada yang mungkin penasaran, karena pasti kan kita pengen ngasih value, ngasih nilai untuk orang lain, untuk sekitar. Ya mungkin pertama awal keluarga dulu, terus masyarakat, terus ya semua orang. Jadi pasti ada masalah yang bisa diselesaikan, pasti akan ada masalah baru. Masalah baru itu akan bisa diselesaikan dengan teknologi baru, entah itu AI atau apapun. Jadi akan selalu ada, tapi untuk sekarang ya kita berusaha puas dalam konteks bersyukur aja dulu.
Oke, keren banget Kak. Oke, next.
I think Kyo and Eka already answered the question. Yeah, there is no end. There's no end in learning, right? And then I never feel satisfied because the moment I reach one goal and then I set a new goal and then you continue on. So and then like she said, there are new problems every day. So you can just keep solving problems until the day you die, until the day you can't work anymore, right? Yeah. So that's my point.
Okay, how about Sakina? Is there anything that you wanna add?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much answered by everyone over here. So yeah, just one thing that I'd like to add is, while it's an ongoing journey, right? You keep getting new problems, you keep overcoming them. What does matter is that it can either be done overnight, or it can either be done in a week, a month, a year. It depends on how much effort you're putting in, right? So it just depends on how committed you are, how dedicated you are. If you want to achieve something, but let's say you're hardly gonna get like 5 minutes each day, then obviously it's gonna be a long journey. But if you're really committing to it and you're maybe, I don't know, it's subjective, but hypothetically, let's say if you're getting it like 2 hours a day, then it probably might get even faster. So at the end of the day, it's all subjective. It's you versus you, so it just depends on how committed you are and how satisfied you are with yours.
Oke, beri tepuk tangan teman-teman untuk semua panelis kita. Berhubung keterbatasan waktu, sayang banget udah diingetin kakak-kakak yang sebelah kanan kita ya. Jadi aku conclude aja session hari ini. Remember, diversity fuels innovation. Whether you are delving into Android, Flutter, web development, Firebase, or machine learning, your potential is limitless. Stay curious, stay resilient, and remember you belong in STEM. The future is brighter with your contribution, and thank you for being part of this conversation, and stay empowered, stay innovative. Until next time, keep coding the future. Saya Cendikia, kami undur diri. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.